Well, just getting to know the guys. Obviously, we're working through some verbiage things, but they've done an outstanding job. Players are really eager to go to work, and the meetings and come out here and practice has been impressive. So I know everybody's excited to get pads on and probably do a little more crossover, but it's been very productive first 3 practices for everybody involved.
Yeah, I noticed that at the inside linebacker you kind of have those 3 guys, kind of rotating in there. Is it sort of a competition between all 3 of them right now, or are you pretty comfortable with maybe one of them, maybe like starting and a competition between the other 2?
Yeah, I know everybody gets interested in the starting lineup, and right now it's not about that. Is it competitive? Yeah, it is competitive, and we got to have our best every day. But right now it's really a focus on each individual getting better at their craft and their position. So I'm not really, stressed about the depth chart right now. It's not about the depth chart. It's about each guy improving, us improving as a defense, and it'll be competitive. There's no doubt. I also think there's enough reps for more than 2 guys, and if we have as many guys that can play in there and help our team win, then that's how many guys will play.
What specifically would you like to see out of the secondary group? Front seven's got a lot of guys that played last year and started, and there's a lot to replace back there. What are you looking for?
Again, I think spring football, we're focusing on ourselves and the techniques that we need to work on at corner, at safety, at nickel, that we're going to use during the fall. But it's really about working those techniques and getting better fundamentally. And I know that kind of sounds like a broken record, but that's what we're doing. And I think each of those guys is showing improvement and getting familiar with the verbiage and the schematics, but it's really fundamental driven.
What have you seen from Coach Leonard so far? Has it been an adjustment for him at all, not having coached you guys?
No, not at all. I mean, I think Jim's he's very smart. He's a hardworking guy. He's played the position a long time, and I know, he hasn't been a quote-unquote coach before, but really he's been doing it for so long, and he teaches it very, very well. He's very clean teaching it. Some guys know it. It's a different thing when you have to stand up and teach it to another person or a group, and it's really been seamless. So I don't, for one, I haven't one time thought, he hasn't done this before. That hasn't showed up at all. He's very natural teaching those guys.
Are there much adjustments for defensive players in terms of just the language of things in between?
There's been, some. I think there's verbiage, like a lot. I mean, football, there's a lot of carryover, whether it's your 3-4 team, which we will be a lot of the time. There's certain coverages, cover 3, cover 4, man coverages, and sometimes the techniques might be named a little different. So there's been kind of a marrying those. And for example, if I called one thing a certain technique oranges and they called it apples, and it's the same technique, then we're going to call it apples, because it's no use teaching 43 guys or 45 guys a new word. So I'll change it. So there's been some of that. And then if something's a little bit different, then maybe we might call it something different than they'd called it before. But I think the verbiage they'll pick up, and they already have. I mean, a lot of it. I think it's just through repetition, they'll soak that in. So I'm not too worried about that.
How important is that right now when it's early, when it is back and forth? It's not just one way, it's a dialogue.
Yeah, it's just constant communication. And again, like I said, there's some things that'll stay the same, some things will be a little bit different, but I don't envision that being a huge issue. I really, again, spring ball goes back to, it's the fundamentals, and those things, the verbiage will come, and I think the kids are sharp and they're smart and they understand football, and we're continuing to understand it better and better. Like, we want to, be experts at our position, learn the situations of football, and those are the things we're focusing on in spring.
You're on a really talented defense the last couple of years with some talented players. How's that talent kind of compare to what you've been inherited here?
I never enjoyed comparing people or teams. I don't think it's, there's no really.
With the level of talent that you have here that you're going to have.
Well, I think football is a skill game. Talent helps. Talent gives you a start, but it's not a talent game always. It's a skill game. So if you have a certain amount of talent, that's great. Now, that has to translate into the skill of playing football, playing D-line, linebacker, DB. And so we talk about that all the time. Like, it's not always the fastest guy doesn't always win. Maybe he does in track, but in football, you got to know how to play the position. So we're focused on that. And, like I said, talent's important, and we have some talented guys on the team. And it's what you do with that talent, and how you develop it, and how consistent you are utilizing that talent. That's what's important.
You have a couple spots open in the defensive backfield. What have you seen out of those guys these first couple of practices?
They're doing a great job getting familiar with the language, the techniques. I think the first 3 days have been very fundamentally driven. Jim has done a great job getting those guys kind of acclimated and up to speed. And then, we haven't played yet. We haven't put pads on, and there'll be a process of each of those guys, seeing things and at a game speed and, learning with some experience. And it's hard to, there isn't a substitute for that. We got to manufacture it in practice, and so they gain some experience.
Do you like Jack primarily at inside? Can he bounce around a little bit for you?
Yeah.
He did quite a bit last year.
Yeah. Jack is a guy did a lot of good things last year. He's a very instinctive guy. He's slippery. He's hard to block. Does a good job finishing plays. Very competitive. Excited about him. I think Jack could help us at a couple different spots, and we're gonna do it kind of right now. He's playing inside linebacker. He can go outside and play, but right now we're working at inside linebacker. So it's to be determined, but that's where he's at right now. Yeah.
You guys are going to see a lot of really explosive offenses coming up this season.
Yeah.
What is the one thing you would find yourself looking at this spring to try and prepare for something that's really good?
It's really, again, it goes back to we're working on us right now, and we need to work the fundamentals, the techniques it takes to be a good player, a good team. We need to develop a menu, so you have your pro style teams that will play. You have the one back teams, and then you have the QB spread run teams. So you have to have enough scheme wise to kind of play against those teams and what you like the most. So we'll build that menu, but again, the focus is on us and getting better, becoming experts at our position. And that if each guy can do that, then the growth as the defense will be and the team is exponential. So that's what we're really focusing on, as opposed to worrying about the schedule right now.